Auth66. Well, missed yesterday. I feel like on the days where things get a little bit hectic, it's really easy to miss. It's not really an excuse, but we had a busy work day and we went out, my husband and I, with friends to like a local fair, and while we were there, we had a great time. But then we were talking to them and we were like, we should go see this movie sometime. And we're like, why not tonight? So I got home well after the time it would be because we went to a late show. But I mean, I think if I was going to pick a reason to miss the commitment, I mean, being out there and living kind of okay. I think that's fine. I think that's kind of like a commentary on balance. You can have a lot of work in your life. You can have a lot of social in your life. You can have a lot of travel in your life. Maybe that marries with your work. Maybe it doesn't. But whatever brings you peace, whatever brings you happiness, there should be balance. I've talked about balance enough times. Don't think that's the topic for today. I actually don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Usually I go in with some sort of a plan or some sort of idea of what I want to say, and I don't have that today. Maybe today is just going to be a ramble. Today was another day where it was kind of full, but not. I did what every good person should do on a Saturday if you're not working, which is sleep in. At least that's what I think. And then, spent some time with my dogs, played piano, getting better at certain songs. I might have to bring the piano back out into one of these Auth66s. Went, where did we go? No, we watched some TV before we went to a Niagara on the Lake, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes from my home, and stopped in a few different restaurants, had some delicious food, just different things, chatted, played Pokemon Go, because yes, I am a child, and just watched kind of other people experiencing something they might have like flown or driven very far for, that we have so close to us and kind of take for granted. The different kinds of food that we had were absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorite things to do, actually, is to just try like different foods. And I wouldn't call me a foodie, but I do enjoy, like, especially if it's something that's a different take, or I can tell by like the way that they describe the flavors that are going to be things that I like. Because it's kind of like another way of experiencing things. When I travel, I always try to find the place that's like not the tourist place, but where locals would go. So you can really get an idea of what people who live there would eat. Not just like whatever place that has been purposely rated and whatever to draw tourists in, but wherever the locals would go. And if you don't know this, and if you ever go to Niagara on the Lake, I'll tell you this right now. There are wonderful restaurants that are along the main downtown area. But if you find yourself there for breakfast, go to Silk's. It's in a plaza. It's like a hole in the wall, but it's like a mom and pop type place. They have like waffles. It's a real homey vibe. You're not going to get anything that's like Michelin star or anything, but they do pour a lot of love and care into it. And it's kind of like one of those like local diner type places that people who live there go, which is, like I just said, probably some of the best places. Now, I could give you recommendations for like 5 to 8 other restaurants that you should go to that are all along that main strip that are also just amazing, but it's a different vibe, right? We also went to the old time candy store, which is like my favorite thing. You're going to spend so much money because it's made for tourists on candy, but you can find the stuff that you don't usually find, weird flavors of things that you usually see. So that's always fun. I think maybe that's what this video is about, is just going to share a little bit of the fun stuff I've done this weekend, hoping that maybe you have done fun stuff too. A friend, kind of shared with me their goals, and one of them was to get out of the house more. And, you know, I thought about it and I was like, you know, I think as we get to a certain age, maybe you already have a set of hobbies where you know exactly what you'd want to get out of the house for. But if you don't, it can actually be kind of hard to think about, like, what would get me out of my comfort zone that I'd be okay with right now. Because I mean, it's a comfort zone for a reason, right? I'm pretty social, so getting out and hanging out with other people, it's an easy thing for me, which is why last night was great. You know, we ran into people while we were at this festival. Besides the ones that we had come with, the friends that we had come with, we ran into other people from inner circles, and, you know, got a chance to catch up and see people and whatever. But that's not always a guarantee. And even if you do run into people, they might be there with other people that they know. So, you know, that's its own thing. You don't want to be interrupting. But yeah, figuring out in your 40s how to, you know, do stuff outside of work can sometimes be a little bit daunting. So I don't know that I have it figured out. I don't know that a lot of people I know my age have it figured out. Especially as I look, you know, I've got one son who's just started high school, going to go into his second year in the fall. Another one who's on the brink of middle school, starting in the fall. And I'm very well aware that their lives are very quickly traveling beyond their mom and dad. I mean, like right now they're gone to camp. Nate's been gone. It's my oldest for almost 3 weeks, and Aiden's been gone for a week. And we go pick them up in a week, but it doesn't mean that it hasn't been weird to not have them home and not made me think about what it's going to be like when they go off to college. So it's kind of like this season of life where I'm looking at what my goals and dreams and aspirations are, but also what I like to do for fun. I mean, I know what I like to do for fun when I was in my 20s and even to some extent my 30s, but this is a little bit different. I mean, I went to the concert the other day and I was very much reminded that my knees don't agree with the level of dancing I used to do when I was younger. But I strongly encourage people to remember that everything is a season. And while it feels a little bit daunting, maybe that's the message, it feels a little bit daunting, rediscovering can also be a really cool adventure too. Happened today into the most weird place I've ever been in a long time. And I'm sorry for anybody who's local who might watch this video because I'm about to shit on something that's local, but whatever. It was a bookstore. And anywhere I go, as I said in one of my last videos, that I love books, I will always want to go visit a bookstore because if I can find something different or unique, especially if I think that there's maybe older books. This was not the case. But this bookstore, I kid you not, that every book was wrapped in plastic. Like every book was wrapped in plastic. And it was as if to say, we know all the tourists are going to come here and touch these books, but we want to protect them. So they were like neatly folded plastic sheets. Somebody had taken great care to wrap each individual book, no matter the size, and cut the plastic to it. And I thought it was so strange. You couldn't look in the book if you wanted to. You could read the back, but you couldn't like look in if they didn't have the description on the, like if they had the description on the inside cover, you couldn't tell what the book was about. And then they had like no regular point of sale system. If a book was under $25, you had to pay cash. If it was over $25, you could pay via credit card, not debit, via credit card, through one of those old machines that they would like take an imprint of your credit card, and the woman had to like call it in, and she had this book in front of her that had like all of the transactions written down, like as she was doing them, like there was a ledger in front of her, and then she had the ability to give you a receipt if you needed it through like a printed out, like a handwritten receipt. And it was just one of those things where I was like, this is so strange, but it was so like almost like a stark reminder of, you know, how far we've come. And when I was just thinking about what I was talking about, these seasons and stuff, like that season of life where things were, you know, much more analog, you know, and then now we're in this digital world, sometimes we forget about the things that we would have done before. So, you know, sometimes it's about discovering something new, and sometimes it's about just rediscovering things that you used to do. That's my ramble for today. No real theme, just welcome to my weekend. See you tomorrow.